Cape to Cape Track guidebook purpose is to take people as they're walking, give them a description of the track with maps accompanying and photographs, and be quite a detailed guide to the whole walk. The Cape to Cape walk is 135 kilometres all along the coastline of the very southwest tip of Australia, from the lighthouse up at Cape Naturalist down to Cape Leeuwin. And the track itself goes along cliff tops, along beaches, with some nice inland loops as well into the Baranop forest down here. So it's a very varied walk, and just has a lot of different elements. It's rather lovely walking along the coast. From the cliff tops you can often see whales, dolphins, and of course there are a multitude of wildflowers all the way along in spring.
And of course offshore there's the Leeuwin Current as well,
There is the Leeuwin Current, yes, absolutely. Which is actually really interesting because in the marine environment there are a lot of species that come down here because of the warm current that you wouldn't normally see this far south. At the northern end of the Cape to Cape track is Cape Naturalist. It's quite a high plateau with the lighthouse on the top, of course, and the walk starts from there. The lighthouse is a lovely one which you can climb. It's only a shortish distance, but again a lovely view from the top. And then the first little part of the Cape to Cape track, the first 3.5 kilometres, is actually wheelchair accessible. It's a beautiful bit of coastline, lovely views, looking down to Sugarloaf Rock, and we have boardwalk and bitumen along there so that people of all abilities can use it. The rest of the track is a bit different. Most of it is rough, stony, sandy and beach, cliff tops, different kind of walk. But it's a beautiful section going down to Sugarloaf Rock here. This is an example of how the book works. For each section of the track we have a map, a short description, and where we can some photographs too, to give people more of an idea of the country they're passing through. So the scale of the maps is 1 in 25,000, so it's very detailed, and we have little sections on the access water facilities in each place, and then just a step-by-step description with a little bit, it is described north to south, and of course some people walk south to north, so we do have some little extra paragraphs just to highlight what happens when you walk the other way.
And this section is the Margaret River, of course.
This section is the Margaret River, which is very central. Here's the river mouth. Doesn't always look like this. Sometimes in the winter the river is flowing very fast through the mouth, and it goes through to the ocean at different places. It's one of those rivers which starts in the Blackwood Plateau over towards Nannup and flows right through to the coast. It's one of the few rivers systems in the southwest which is in a pretty good state, not too affected by salinity, and has some very good vegetation up a lot of its length, which is lovely. It flows through in the winter, but in the summer there is a sandbar. We have very little rain through the summer months here, and starts flowing again usually in about June. And when it is flowing through the winter, if we're having a good winter rainfall, it can be quite deep. It can be chest deep and quite difficult to cross sometimes. But through the summer, of course, everything is easy with the sandbars. At the southern end of the Capes we have Cape Leeuwin, with the lighthouse down here, and the walk ending at the water wheel. It's ended at the water wheel for a long time, but we now have a little bit of extra track through to the car park at the lighthouse itself, so it finishes there now. This, of course, is where the Lewin Current comes right around and into the Australian Bight eventually. But the walk goes along the cliff tops here and back down, and there's some very pretty little bays. Quarry Bay, where there's a beautiful tufa cliff, which I may have a photograph of. Yes, here. This is an interesting little bit of the coastline here, with the tufa cliff above the granite basement rocks.
What's tufa?
Tufa is a deposit from the seepage from springs coming out of the hillside.
And you have the lighthouse, of course.
And the lighthouse is tall, the Cape Lewin Lighthouse. Very lovely to climb and get a beautiful 360-degree view at the top of the Indian Ocean and the Southern Ocean.
And you can get in there?
And yes, absolutely, yeah. It's a super place to go. And they have a lovely interpretation walk all around the grounds as well, with some historical sections and bits about the geology and the vegetation